Glad I'm not on camera.
Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Karen, would you take the roll, please?
Commissioner Young,
Here.
Commissioner Miller,
Here.
Commissioner Keen, Commissioner Brink, Commissioner Kubal,
Here.
Commissioner Steeler,
Here.
and Chair Gerard.
Here. We ask you if you're able, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the agenda, but I want to note that what we're going to do is we will actually hear item 6, which is 7739 North Shore. And then after that business is concluded, we will adjourn the meeting. And then we will move over to the conference room so we can have a more casual discussion this evening on the comprehensive plan. So that'll be in a workshop session instead of up here where it's a lot harder to discuss. So with that, I would motion to approve the agenda as changed.
Second.
A motion and a second. Susan?
Question, please?
Mhm.
Once we move over to that room, how will the public be able to hear what we're saying, and how will the recordings happen?
I do not believe it will be recorded.
The public is welcome to join us in the room, but we hadn't anticipated recording. So if there is opposition, we certainly can stay in this room. It's just in the last meeting, the commission had expressed an interest in doing it in a workshop format, so.
Our discussion tonight regarding comprehensive plan implementation, I think is a very important discussion, but I will bow to the will of the chair.
I have a question. Do we have anybody online currently?
No.
Okay.
And I don't think it was a public hearing.
No, no.
No, but if we had somebody online,
Right.
But I get comments frequently that so-and-so watched the meeting later on the city's cable channel. So, okay. Just needed to ask the question.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Abstentions? Motion passes. Chair is looking for a motion to approve the planning commission meeting minutes from, I believe this is the August 10th, 2022 meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
me, Geneva.
Motion carries. Item 6, 7739 North Shore Circle North. Cure, conditional use permit and variance request. This was tabled on August 10th, 2022. And at that meeting on August 10th, we had already had the public hearing, so there will not be a public hearing this evening. So with that, I believe, Nathan, you're presenting?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So Karen, would you mind showing the screen here? So momentarily, just for everyone's information and to get us all on the same page again, the property will show up on the screen. This is just an aerial that shows that this is an unaddressed parcel north of the applicant's and owner's home, which is located at 7739 North Shore Circle. So on the screen, you can see that parcel, which is the subject parcel of these applications. As the chair indicated, the applicant's conditional use permit and variance requests at the previous meeting were tabled to this meeting specifically to allow time for the applicant to revise their submission. One thing that was noticed at the last meeting that was omitted or didn't have enough information was the site plan. So the applicant has resubmitted the site plan as directed by the commission and staff. And so on the page or the screen in front of you, you should be able to see the revised site plan that was included with the planning commission's packet. Specifically, what are the two things that we needed to identify were with respect to the variance requests. One variance request you will remember was to a front yard setback. In this specific district, the front yard setback for this type of structure would be 30 feet. The other setback that was needing a variance was that setback to a wetland buffer. That comes from the city's shoreland overlay. The front yard setback is actually met with this site plan, indicating a setback of 30 feet of this structure from the front yard or the front lot line. And the structure does still appear to be 6 feet from that wetland line, and therefore needs a variance to the setback requirement of 20 feet. So that is what is in front of the Planning Commission again this evening. As a reminder, the conditional use permit is to allow this type of use in this particular area of the city. That is allowed by the zoning ordinance in the single family zoning district. So we have removed the request for a front yard setback, and therefore the two requests that are recommended for the Planning Commission's approval by staff are for that conditional use permit and a variance of 14 feet to the wetland setback. Conditions of consideration for both the variance and the conditional use permit are provided to you in the staff report. That's all I have as kind of an overview to the staff report. I'm wondering if there are any questions for me. I'd remind you the applicants are here again this evening if you have any questions for them.
Commissioners, any questions for staff?
I think I got a couple. Without giving the conditional use permit or the setback, whatever, this property can't be used for pretty much anything, correct?
That's more or less correct or accurate. Yeah, the wetlands on this property make it a significantly challenging site to develop and possibly undevelopable for a single family home.
And if they were to put something like this on the property across the street, that would be problemsome too. Is that what I'm kind of, that's why?
Sure. So you can see that they do own the property across the street on North Shore Circle, and it would be virtually impossible for them to locate this size of structure, given the fact that there are setbacks that they have to meet, in addition to the fact that in this particular area around the lake, they cannot put that structure between the house and the lake.
Perfect. That's all I need to know.
Other questions? Commissioners? Hearing none, would the applicant wish to state anything this evening?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Commissioners, this was tabled 2 weeks ago based on not having the wetland delineations and not having the proper structure on there. So the question now becomes that we need to make a motion to either approve or deny. So either discussion or a motion.
I move to approve the applicant's request for a variance of 14 feet to the required wetland setback of 20 feet with conditions 1 through 6 identified. And I move to approve the applicant's request for a conditional use permit to allow an accessory structure or non-riparian lot. And the number is there with conditions in 1 through 6 identified by staff.
I'll second.
Okay, we need to have two separate
Two separate?
motions. So ideally, Don would rescind his, and then you would rescind and start over with.
I'll rescind mine. I'll rescind my second.
How about we do, can we do it as a amendment to just take that whole second half off?
Just take
Okay,
that one off and just motion to either approve the variance or motion to approve the CUP. We need
Okay.
two motions this evening.
all right. I move to approve the applicant's request for a variance of 14 feet to the required wetland setback of 20 feet with the conditions identified 1 through 6 by staff.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion on the motion? I would have one recommendation to the condition of, one change to the conditions of approval. I'd like to see it stated in there that the structure cannot be larger than 192 square feet. So I don't know if that goes in number 1
That's in
That would
number
be,
6.
that would be a seventh condition
or
of
7th
approval.
one, that's fine. We're requiring them not to mow 192 feet. I think it should be stated that the structure is 192 square feet. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carries 4-1.
No, I need to amend the motion because you added a
That's
seventh
correct.
condition.
Yeah, sorry, Chair, that would be correct. So the motion would have to be amended to include conditions 1 through
Okay.
7.
Whack me the next time I
Commissioner
don't do
Kubal
this
can
correctly.
essentially just accept the
I will accept
amendment.
that friendly amendment.
And then Commissioner Steeler will need to,
I don't know if your addition is needed, you know,
But they could change in the future.
right there, 16 by 12, and that runs with the conditionally or with the variance.
But we don't say in there that,
Oh. Okay.
So did we,
Commissioner Kubal amended her motion. It would just require Commissioner Steeler to.
I'll second the amended motion.
discussion? Thank you, Commissioner Young, for educating me as usual here. So we will call the question again. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Okay,
Motion carries 4-1.
you want this 7th? We don't need that for the other one then, do we? The 7th? We do? Okay.
Yeah, just be consistent.
All
yeah.
right. Move to approve the applicant's request for a conditional use permit to allow an accessory structure on the non-riparian lot with the number 1003221240023 with conditions 1 through 7 has been amended by the Planning Commission.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Abstentions? Motion carries 4-1. Good luck on your project, or,
continued use of your shed.
this will stand unless someone objects to the decision that the Planning Commission made this evening. They have 1 week to get to the city and inform them that they would like a different result with the decision. If that happens, then it would be reviewed by the full city council. So have a good evening. Before we adjourn, though, we'll do the, I should have, can I do the other? Aye, thank you. We'll do the other part of the meeting now to make sure we have any updates, and then we'll go in and we'll adjourn to have the discussion on the comprehensive plan. Abby, do you have anything for us this evening?
I do a few updates. I believe I shared with the commission, the city is in the process of updating its parks, trails, and open space plan. There's a public survey available online right now. It'll only be online for a couple more weeks. We're doing other active engagement, including meeting with focus groups, very much honing in on some populations of the community that might be underserved or their needs might not be met in our park system, understanding how we can impact or improve our park systems in the future. Commissioner Young, did you have a question?
One, how are you recruiting for focus groups? And what do you consider to be the underserved populations, please?
Sure. So we've been working with Washington County directly. We received a grant from Washington County to look at, and I'm going to forget it because right now all I'm thinking about is equity and inclusion. It might have been an equity inclusion grant. The couple different populations that we've been looking at, people with disabilities. We've learned that 25% of Forest Lake households have a person with disabilities living with them. We're also looking at the age spectrums in our focus groups. So we have one meeting set up with a moms group, and we have another one with just active elders or elders in the community. And then we've trying to set up a meeting for sure with the high school. Some of these focus groups will be actually led kind of like a focus group in a box where we have so at the school, it'd be one of the school's staff or guidance counselor or somebody like that. It wouldn't necessarily be us leading those. I'd have to look back to see all the different avenues that we've been pursuing, but right now the 3 that have been committed are youth, elders, and people with disabilities, if I remember correctly.
I would recommend the Wives Forever Well group of very active elders who meet for coffee on a regular basis. You
Sure.
can contact Mary for that. And I would also strongly recommend that you have at least 1 or 2 focus groups of apartment dwellers.
That was the other one I was going to just mention. We have actually done a survey tailored specifically to people that live in apartments. We have found that there's just a large concentration of multifamily housing in the community, and wondering how their needs are being met in our park system. So it wasn't necessarily it's a focus group, but we're not doing a one-on-one with them. They are having their own individualized survey in addition to the public survey, so that we can kind of see how things are affecting the general population and those that work within, or live within the community. I do believe we have contacted the Y as well.
How are you reaching out to them?
Paper survey. So there's a couple different ways. We have an online survey specifically for them that we're sharing with apartment managers, but then also distributing a paper survey in their mailboxes. So to try to see if we can gauge people's interest either way. We're hoping for some percentage of multifamily housing, but we'll take what we can get.
I might also be tempted to talk to the Lake Association. There's a snowmobile association in the community that has some pretty strong feelings about parks and trails.
Sure.
That might be helpful to you.
Thank you. We'll consider that.
I might be wrong, but was there an online survey done for this particular issue already, and has some of that material been collected?
Some of that material's been collected, so the public engagement, that open survey for the general population, anybody that wants to take it, is still active.
And how many people have done that survey? Do you have any idea?
If I remember, if you give me just a second, I can double check. I want to say the last that we had checked, it was like in the 200 range.
That's not too bad.
No, we were actually quite surprised that was, I think, at least a week ago now. So I can figure that
No,
information
that's
out. and
okay,
get back to you.
because I'm thinking I filled out that survey and I think I shared it with like either my email people or something to
Yeah.
say, hey, this is out there. And then did you guys also do it at an Arts in the Park?
We did. Yeah,
Okay.
we've been doing public engagement now for about a month. We're really now in the next month focusing in on those focus groups. That was one of the strong components of the grant, was to focus in on underrepresented populations and to just gauge their interest and their needs within the park system.
If you could send me the link, I will try and post it on the Forest Lake Happenings Facebook page,
Sure.
which is very highly attended. And then the neighborhood Gmail group.
Great, I'll send it out tomorrow to everybody in the commission and share with,
Very much.
with your folks. Just want to let you know a couple of quick roadway project updates. The state aid, or the Highway 11 or 11th Avenue, Highway 32, 11th Avenue. Had a workshop last week. It was pretty well attended. I think there'll be further ongoing public engagement, but I know that the county definitely heard local concerns. They heard everything from the intersection right on 61 all the way down, that there were challenges with the corridors. So there'll be more public engagement. We'll keep you informed. We've also had discussions at staff level about the Highway 97 reconstruction project. They'll be looking to do some public input this fall. I'll keep this commission informed. I believe that'll be a 2-part public input process, one online workshop as a reminder, MnDOT is still operating remotely. They haven't been doing a lot of in-house public engagement, but they have indicated that they may be willing to do that in Forest Lake, which I think is really beneficial, these in-house public engagements. A couple construction projects. Bridge Academy, you approved a couple months ago, right at the Headwaters Parkway and Highway 61, or just off Highway 61. They should be starting construction still this week. So just know that that activity is going to start right on the corner of 61 and Headwaters. They're all on their site. It won't be occurring on public streets or public land. Sweet Living, that's the memory care senior care facility just to the north of Bridge Academy, just to the south of Common Bond apartment project. They're starting in mid-September, so if you needed to get on Fitzgerald Way for some reason, I'd recommend doing it like tonight. Because I think that roadway is gonna be pretty congested through the rest of the winter. Bridge Academy is anticipated opening date is February. So that'll be a nice attribute to the community. And then lastly, just on the dais tonight for you, are printed comp plans, zoning maps, and future land use maps, just the larger maps. They're in your plan anyways. The last meeting, I said anybody who wanted them to let me know. Deputy Clerk Karen over here just took it upon herself to make them for all of you. So you have them. Let us know if there's anything else you need. That's all I have. Yes.
The area where the school is going, and the memory care was originally in that,
Headwaters PUD.
yes, PUD, to be commercial. And with two now nonprofits, the commercial tax base that was envisioned there, what do you see as the remainder of the property? Will that remain from a development, a city development lead looking to be commercial, or will you be helping to search for other nonprofit?
So that's a big question. So just as a reminder, until I came on, the city's efforts in economic development weren't as proactive. And even right now, just me 3-4 months in, I haven't had the ability to be proactive. So we're not actively seeking out necessarily, certainly not residential, multifamily residential development. I've received one phone call on the rest of that kind of little corner there. So you've got the daycare, and then you have Bell Bank. And then at the end of that block, you have the vet clinic. There's a pretty large piece of property there that we've recently learned does have a sizable wetland on it. The wetland wasn't delineated as part of the 2005 PUD. So there are some questions about whether or not the development itself has created this wetland. That's something that a current developer is looking into. They have talked about a dentist office, about a 4,000 square foot dentist office that would have, so for reference, the veterinary clinic's just about 4,000 square feet. I believe that the intention for this site was to have a little bit more of those smaller commercial around the corridor there, or along the streets.
Retail.
But I haven't heard of anything else. I know that this is a site that I actually submitted to Trader Joe's. See if they want to come to town. Anybody can request a Trader Joe's in their town. Did you know that? I haven't heard from them. That's about as proactive as I've been on the site.
Thank you.
Yep.
Karen, do we have Councilperson Munson on line tonight?
I do not.
Okay. Nathan, anything?
Abby covered a lot of ground in her update. I don't really have much more to add. I would just say that folks are still calling us and keeping us busy. So we're continuing to work with the community and folks interested in development.
Nathan, have you heard anything from Washington County on County Road 50? I know that they were going to be working on that. Talked to Ryan a year ago now, and
Yeah.
he thought that they were relatively close to plans. Every once in a while, I see stakes, and
I don't know that we can say we've heard anything from the county on County Road 50 at this point on that alignment question.
thank you.
Karen?
I have no updates, except that I just want to remind you guys about the training on September 14th.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, September 14th. So normally it would be a planning commission meeting night, but we will have that training that night. You will receive an invitation from the city administrator. He will be mailing that out, emailing that to you.
I think I need to bring brownies that night.
You what?
I think I need to bring brownies that night.
The good kind?
You can?
Not that kind,
Oh,
but quite frankly,
I
they're
won't,
pretty
I won't
good.
be here anyway, so I'll bring them the next time.
Anita?
I don't know where it's appropriate or even if it's appropriate for this group, but 97 from like the circle on by the school to the circle on 61. I noticed that the speed limit there is 55, but when they put up the thing that kind of like clocks people's speeds, nobody's really getting over 45. But what really I'm wondering is why is that 55 at all, especially if there's a school that's right there and it's kind of a choke point? Who would be the appropriate forum to address that issue?
I think it's MinDOT. It used to be 45. Okay, and it was 45 from 61 all the way to that little strip mall.
And is
And
it
then it
possible,
changed to 55.
did they change it or just put in a different sign and didn't, is it a mistake?
We can look into
We
that.
can- Yeah.
Okay,
Commonly after infrastructure improvements are done, they will do a speed study again afterwards, and the speed study is where those speed limits come from. So there's like a really methodical formula that MinDOT goes through to calculate
Okay,
those.
well, I think they got it wrong, really wrong, especially since cars aren't doing it anyway. So if we can get something done there, that would be great.
Good.
Kevin?
Just going back to a question I asked at the last meeting, Nathan, or maybe it was a couple meetings ago, regarding sharing of our water systems and sharing of our sewer systems. As I look through the comprehensive plan, I see we do already share some of our sewer with
Yeah.
a couple of cities.
Did I mention that? Did I provide you? I got the answer to that.
Yeah, and then I saw on there also that there's a potential, I don't know if we currently are sharing water with any of the cities, but a potential of sharing water. And the reason I ask, obviously, is because of all the construction going on up near 97 on this side of the road, as well as I know talking about the 200 and some units coming in up on the north side of town. How does that work, is my question, and how do we get paid for it, and how does the city benefit from doing that?
Sure. So the only pipe that we share is actually a Columbus pipe. Wyoming, Columbus, just to the west of Columbus.
Columbus is to the west,
west.
and that's, yeah, we do have a pipe there.
We share a sewer pipe of Columbus's that goes into the Met Council line that comes right through town, or right, on the west side of town. I don't know how that agreement was made. I know that it's to their benefit and ours as well. So I don't know if there's any costs associated with that. When it comes to actual infrastructure cost sharing, I think there's probably some formula based on a development, but not something that I have enough knowledge about.
Yeah, the only reason I ask is I don't assume Columbus has a water treatment facility plant where we have those, and is that then going through our systems? Is that wear and tear on our systems? Is there expense on our systems? And are they paying for part of that? Again, I'm just curious because it's part of our plan here. How do we benefit from it? That's all I'm curious about, and how is the cost shared?
Have the answer ready, we can certainly find one for you.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I
curious.
don't have enough. It sounds like Commissioner Young has something to add, though.
It's a history thing, okay? And Columbus paid for the sewer line to the Met Council. There was a time just before the city tried to annex Columbus, when the city looked at selling water to Columbus, because that was a time when Columbus was putting in the Gander and the yada, et cetera. And the proposal was for not only for Columbus to build the infrastructure at their own cost to meet our line, but then for essentially, what would be a SAC charge or a WAC, a water charge, a whack charge. Every time they added a new property onto the water system. And then there was a plan for selling them water at slightly above Forest Lake cost. And city council at that time declined to do that.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because, you know, what I've seen in the past is, like you said, they usually annex those, those into the city, or they put in their own infrastructure.
St. Paul Regional Water Authority sells water to lots of different places. I know that Minneapolis sells water from their plant to Golden Valley and Brook Park and yada, yada, yada. Sure. And so it's a really common thing. And there are a lot of price structures out there that the city could use to absolutely recover our costs. Certainly should.
No, it's for nonprofit. Don, anything?
Nothing.
Susan? Chair has nothing, so the chair is looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, non-debatable. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Just gonna abstain on that.
Motion carries.